CourseArc allows you to configure tracking and grading preferences at the course level. These settings will determine how the scoring appears for learners in the course. This video will explain the 3 different tracking and grading options. Only a system administrator, course administrator, or course leader can edit the course settings. To begin, make sure you are in the Manage Course view of the course you are working on. Click on the Manage drop-down menu and then select the Edit Course link. The Edit Course form will appear. The Tracking and Grading section will be in the middle of the screen. Enabling the participation or cumulative settings will activate CourseArc's tracking and bookmarking features. The first option is participation. If a course is set to participation, each module score is calculated based on how many pages the learner completes. Page completion requires interaction with all page activities. Individual performance for activities is not evaluated. For example, if a learner completes a matching activity and gets only half of the questions correct, they will still receive full credit for completing the activity in a participation course. When a course is set to participation, the overview page will show no point totals. Also, if a course is set to participation, a Scored Activities block's point value field is not going to display in the block editing form. The second option is cumulative. This is the most widely used tracking and grading setting. If a course is set to cumulative, an instructor can assign a participation point value for each page and can also assign points to individual interactivity blocks that have a scoring option. Students get full credit for participating on each page. However, they will receive full or partial credit for scored activities based on their answers. Note that when you choose cumulative, you will see an option for assigning points per page. Be sure to fill this in. You can assign 0 points if you wish. If the grading is set to cumulative, the overview page will show point totals. If you set the point value total to 0 points per page, it will be indicated by a dash on the overview and scoring pages. Also, when a course is set to cumulative, you will see a point value field in the block editing form for any activity that can be scored. The last option is no tracking or grading. If a course is set to no tracking or grading, learner interactions will not be tracked and no scores will be passed back to the LMS. When this option is selected, no points will show up on the overview page, and there will be no point value field option in interactive activity block settings. No tracking or grading makes sense to use when a course is not going to be shared inside an LMS. Let's take a look at how a participation course appears to the learner. The participation setting includes bookmarking. When a module is launched, bookmarking returns the learner to the last page visited, indicated by a circle with a prominent outline. The tracking feature provides visual cues to students to indicate which pages have been completed. The left navigation shows which pages have been completed with solid round circles. There is also a progress bar at the bottom of the page that visually represents what percentage of the module has been completed. The learner can also click See What's Left to see what is left to complete in the module. As the learner progresses through the module, all of these indicators are automatically updated. The participation setting allows you to pass scores to the LMS gradebook. Notice that the participation score is going to be the exact same as the percentage complete. Let's take a look at how the same participation course appears to the instructor. The instructor view of participation scores is very similar to the learner. Instructors can click on the Student Progress and Performance button to see how all of the learners in their course are progressing. They can also click the More Information button in the Details column to see how an individual learner is doing. Clicking on a page name closes the module report and opens the corresponding course page, displaying the page activity for the student that was being viewed. In this example, Grace Jobs. Instructors can click on any of the page links to see details on how the student scored. As explained earlier, since this is a participation course, Grace has received full credit for taking this quiz, despite the fact that she did not answer all of the questions correctly. The instructor can quickly choose another student from the Select a Student drop-down menu to see how they did on the same activity. And the gradebook will be automatically updated as each student progresses through the module. Let's take a look at how a cumulative course appears to the learner. The cumulative view is also going to include tracking and bookmarking. However, it also provides the current score. The learner can click on the More Information link to see a granular view of their scores. The Scores view shows each page of content, whether the learner has completed it or not, as well as scores for each page and scored activity. The point value next to each page represents the point value that was assigned with the cumulative setting. Each activity listed underneath a page has its own score. And the cumulative setting allows you to pass the learner's scores back to the LMS. The instructor view of cumulative scores is very similar to the learner. Instructors can click the Student's Progress and Performance button to see how all of the learners are progressing and their score. Notice that unlike a participation course, the progress percentage and score numbers are different. Progress measures the number of pages completed against the total number of pages, and the score measures the points earned in activities and points earned for completing pages against the total activity and page completion points. The instructor can click on the More Information button to see how an individual learner is doing. Clicking on a page name closes the module report and opens the corresponding course page, displaying the page activity for the student that was being viewed. Instructors can click on any page link to see details on how a student scored on graded and non-graded items. The student drop-down list switches between views of student responses. The cumulative setting also allows you to pass scores back to the gradebook. And just a reminder that the instructor can use the overview page of any module to check the total points to make sure that they match up with the gradebook. A course that has been set to no tracking or grading does not include any tracking, bookmarking, or scoring capabilities.